Hello everyone, we're in Parashat Toldot. Parashat Toldot is another chapter in the ongoing process of learning how to deal with life. So in previous Parashot, we learned what is the secret of real success. We learned that for a person to be successful in his life, he has to realize there are boundaries and there are rules. There are rules how to make things work. It's like electricity. If you want the light bulb to be on, you need to have the plus, the minus, and you have to have the filament. You need to have the desire to share, the desire to receive, and the ability to balance between the two. You need to learn how to control the desire to receive. You need to learn how to control the desire to share. You need to learn how to put both together and to balance them. And last week we learned that the highest level is when you merge the two and you create a third force, which is called the central column. Then you reach a place in a quantum leap in which everything is possible, because then you connect to the original thought of the creation, which is the desire of the Creator to share with us. And because His, with a big H, desire is endless and unlimited, when we connect to that desire, we can achieve endless goals and unlimited goals. When we are trying to achieve things within the limited boundaries of logic, then we are limited and we're never going to approach even the ultimate or the fulfillment of our potential. And we're always going to feel that something is missing. This parasha is talking about the next level. Now the story of the parasha, it's already a new chapter in the story of Abraham's family. Abraham and Sarah passed away last parasha. Now the stars of this parasha is the new generation, which is Yitzchak and Rivka, and then Yaakov and Esav, Jacob and Esau. Now it starts with again, Rivka is again barren. She cannot have children. Probably it runs in the family, and they pray for each other. Yitzchak prays for Rivka, Rivka prays for Yitzchak. There's a whole message about it, and it's just a continuation of last week's parasha. When you have love between two people, and it's really true love, you can achieve miracles. And then the miracle happens, and Rivka is getting pregnant. She has twins, and it says in the Torah, we're talking about the beginning of Parashat Toldot, which is in Bereshit chapter 25, verse 22, "Vaytetzutzu abanim bekirba." And it says, and the boys were running inside her. Now there's another way to read it in Hebrew. Lerotzetz is to smash. They were smashing each other. So the commentators are saying they were already fighting with each other in the belly during pregnancy. And she was suffering so much from that fight within, she went to a psychic, like most people do when they don't know what to do. Who was the psychic? That she doesn't say. It doesn't matter. But she went to somebody who was a seer, or she got a message. Some say she got a dream. She was praying to God. I want to know what. And God's answer was, 2 nations in your belly. 2 nations will come out of you, and they will fight with each other. That's the way it is. And then the days came to be, and she gives birth. She's in labor. The first one comes out. He's red, full of hair. This is Esau. And the second one comes after, and he's hairless, and he's holding the ankle of the first one. And that's why his name is Yaakov, because ankle in Hebrew is akev. The guy is holding the ankle. Okay? And then it says, so they were twins. The next stage is, they grow up. Esau is a person of hunting, and Yaakov is is a tent dweller. Again, we have the same story of Cain and Abel. It's a repetition. And again, maybe people say it's like a kind of a reflection of the ancient fight till today between the farmers sitting on the land and the Bedouins and or the gypsies, the people that are roaming and going from one place to another, take whatever they can and move on. So we have this civilization, clash of civilization between the two states of mind, because it's two different states of mind. So here, Esau is going out to hunt. Jacob is sitting at home. He's a farmer. And that's the story. And then it says, and Vayehav Yitzchak et Esav, and Yitzchak loves Esau. Kitzai befiv, because he is a hunter. Rivka ohevet et Yaakov. Rivka, the mother, she loves Jacob. So we have a story again of a dysfunctional family. Right? That's the way it looks like. And then it says, and one day, Jacob is making a stew. A lentil stew. Esau is coming from the field hunting and he's tired. And Esau is seeing Jacob cooking and he's saying, feed me with this red thing. Because I'm tired. And that's why it says in the Torah his name is Edom. Edom in Hebrew means Adom, red, after the lentils. So Jacob says, you want to eat? Sell your birthright. Sell your birthright. That's a very, cheap. Low price. But what a chutzpah. It's like the guy is hungry. It's your brother. You're asking for money. It's your brother. You're cooking. He's coming. Here, my brother, eat something. It doesn't look nice, right? Even in the worst families, it doesn't happen. Two brothers, they don't like each other, but one is cooking, the other one is coming home. That he eats. No, your birthright. So Esau says, I'm going to die, I'm starving. What do you need the birthright for? If I'm dead, I'm not going to be a firstborn anymore. So Jacob says, swear to me. And he swore to him. And he sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob gave Esau bread and the lentil soup. And from here, there's a very powerful sentence being said in Hebrew. If somebody is compromising his most important principles in life for nothing, it's called selling his birthright for lentil soup. We'll come to it. So Esau is eating and drinking, and he gets out and he leaves, and he doesn't care about the birthright. Years pass by, and then Isaac is calling Esau and saying to him, Esau, my beloved son, go hunt for me, bring and make the food the way I want. You know how I like them to eat. And when you bring the food, I'll bless you. I'll give you my blessing. Esau goes for hunting. Rivka is there hearing the story. She runs out, she calls Jacob, and she says, your father goes to give the blessing to your brother. Now you go to the sheep, to the flock, you take a goat, and I'll cook the goat like your father loves, and you bring it to your father. He's blind, he won't see the difference. So Jacob says, Mom, he will know, my voice is different. He's hairy, and my skin is not hairy. We'll tell the difference. So she says, you know what? I'll cover your hands with the skins of the goat, so it will feel like you're hairy. But do it fast. Mom, he's going to curse me because I'm cheating him. If he curses you, I take the curse upon me. Okay, doesn't sound so good. Jacob goes and brings the kid from the flock. He slaughters him. Rebecca is cooking the meat. He brings it to Isaac, his father. Isaac says, who are you? He says, I am. Your son is your firstborn. And he didn't lie. What do you mean he didn't lie? He lied. He said, I am what I am. Your Esau is your firstborn. It's like he didn't lie. Of course he lied. Right? He gives him the blessing. Although he says the voice is Jacob's voice, the hands are Esau's hands. It's another saying in Hebrew. When a person shows One hand is showing like he's so innocent, he's so pure. You know, some people do it, but the actions are so deceitful. Then you say in Hebrew, the voice is Jacob's voice, the hands are Esau's hands. Okay? A lot of people do that. So Jacob steals the blessing. He steals the blessing. And the blessing is about ruling the world. It's a blessing because Isaac is giving the blessing to Jacob. A little later, Esau is coming back from the hunting with the food. And Isaac is startled. It's like, who are you? He says, I'm Esau, I brought this stuff for you. He says, somebody came and stole the blessing from you. Oh, it's probably Jacob. He's always like this, deceitful like this. I'm going to kill him. But Father, don't you have a blessing from me? Don't you have enough blessings? He gives him a blessing. And now, the question is, why? We have a lot of whys. Now we're talking about, these are the fathers and the mothers of the nation. We're talking about the patriarchs, the highest souls ever. This looks like really, as we said, dysfunctional family story. How could Jacob do that to his brother? Twice. How could a mother do that to her son? To her husband? We said they love each other. They were one. How come she's deceiving him like this? It's unbelievable. However, Esau wants to kill Jacob. Very dysfunctional. Like we're talking about not just a simple family. Like how many families do you know that one brother wants to kill the other brothers? Not too many, right? It's not so common. I'm not saying that no family is like this, but it's not that common. Okay, but here we're talking about, the fathers of the nation, the patriarchs of the Bible. It's not a children's story. This is like a story that, you don't want this story to be read to your little child, right? It's not nice. Rivka heard that Esau wants to kill Jacob. She's afraid she's going to lose him. She goes to Isaac and she says, look, Esau married local women. You don't like them. I'm afraid Jacob is going to do the same. Please do me a favor. Send Jacob to my brother in Haran. Let him marry a woman from his daughters. Okay? And listen carefully. Isaac, before Jacob is leaving, Isaac calls him and he blesses him. He says, don't marry a woman from the Canaanites. Go to Padan Aram, to the family of your mother, and take a woman from there. And God is going to bless you. He's going to multiply you. And you're going to be a commonwealth of nations. And God is going to give you the blessing of Abraham. He didn't give the blessing of Abraham to Esau. When he thought it is Esau, when it was Jacob, he did not. Which means he knew from the beginning that the person from the two that is going to continue the job is going to be Jacob. He didn't even think for a moment that Esau, although he said that he loved him, he did not think that Esau is going to continue the lineage of the family. He's going to do the job of changing the world. He saved it for Jacob, he knew from the beginning. So why do we say, what was the whole story about? Why he didn't tell Jacob, look, I'm giving your brother the blessing, but the real one, you're going to get it. Why he didn't say to Rivka? Why Rivka didn't know that that's what he thinks about? Why do you need the whole mishmash mess up? Like, you read the story and you feel like, I don't know if these people are going to be my role models. Right? If you read it. And God is going to give you the blessing of Abraham to you and your offsprings. And you are going to be the one who is going to take this land, the promised land. He did not promise that, he didn't give the blessing for the promised land to Esau. To Jacob, he kept it for Jacob. So he knew from the beginning. Why did he need the whole... Okay, everybody understands. The blessing that God gave to Abraham, that's what he says in the blessing. Whatever God gave to Abraham, now I'm giving it to you. And then he sent him to over there to Lavan. So what this story is about? Of course, the Zohar says we have to remember, we're not talking about the history of a special family. We're talking about, if you already understood till now, when we speak about Abraham, we spoke about the energy of sharing. When we spoke about Isaac, it's the energy of receiving. So we're talking about the history of the evolution of the spiritual growth of a person. Now, the Zohar explains as follows. Isaac, as we said, we know that Isaac is left column. Left column means I want, I receive. Okay? Now the left column has two evolutions in this universe. Which means, what does it mean the left column? It means the vessel. The I want, I desire, I need, I live, I contain, I have. It's that two kinds of I have. The one is, and Rabbi Zakura is explaining it very clearly. In the beginning, of all beginnings, before even it says that in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth, in the beginning of all beginnings, when only there is just the light of the Creator expanding in the universe, because the light of the Creator is endless sharing and nothing but sharing, it necessitates the existence of someone who receives. So since the sharing of the Creator is endless, as we said, it necessitates there's going to be someone to receive. And that's how the vessel has been created. The vessel means the desire to receive, because the desire to receive is a metaphysical container to contain the bliss of the Creator. Clear? That energy is the energy of left column. That's the energy of the vessel. However, as the light of the Creator expanded and shared, and the vessel was created, it was created fulfilled. And then, when you have a vessel, a desire that is fulfilled, you become like the fulfillment. Which means, when a person is full of light, of happiness, what happens? He can't think about anything but sharing the happiness with others, because he becomes that light. When a person is full of pain, he becomes the pain. So when we were in the beginning, as the Ari is saying, Rabbi Zakluria, in the endless, we were full of that light, and we became that light, so we wanted to share, but there was no one to share with. So we couldn't, because we were focusing on the sharing, we couldn't receive anymore. So then we contracted, eliminated our desire to receive so we can share. The result was, the light was gone. The moment you don't want it, it's gone. And the moment it was gone, can you imagine endless light flowing in, and suddenly somebody says, no, don't come in. What do you get? A Big Bang. And that's the source of the Big Bang that the scientists talk about, that the universe started from a middle point. That's the middle point the Kabbalists speak about. Why a point? Because the only way you can talk about oneness is in a point. Because it's a point. In the moment you have a point, you don't have up and down, right and left, here and there, then and from now on, right? Everything is one point. That's what scientists are saying. There was one point with no past and future, with no time, no space, no motion, right? So the universe starts from that point, that the Creator and the universe were one. The only way that there will be one, that the whole universe was one point without any dimensions. So, the Big Bang created dimensions, created matter, and created the universe we know, so we can become creators. So we can create light out of darkness, sweetness out of bitterness. And by this we can feel that here we created it by ourselves. Okay? So that's the basics of the study of Kabbalah. Now, after that contraction, which is called in Hebrew, tzimtzum. That means contraction. It means pushing away. It means a lot of things. But it means that we pushed away the light and contracted our desire to receive. And now, when we want again, there are two kinds of I want again. One is the original desire to receive. The original desire to receive is I want. Which means, can you imagine, immediately after the contraction, can you imagine you're full of light and you say like, I don't want any of it. And then you feel the emptiness. What's the first thought is the urge, I want everything back. There's a problem with that. Why? Because the Creator is endless sharing, and the real universe is spiritual, not physical. What does it mean? You can connect in the physical world. You can approach a person you hate, hug them, and from the outside it looks like you like them. You cannot do it in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the only way two objects, two entities can approach is when they have the same frequency. Okay? There are no lies in the upper worlds. What does it mean? You want to connect the light to the light of the Creator, you have to have the same frequency, which means you have to have endless desire to share, and you must be in a state of mind of the Creator, which means nothing controls you. No one controls you. Which means, if someone wants to be happy in this world, the only way to connect to the source of happiness is to be a creator, which means to be on the wavelength in which I am sharing, I love truly others, and nothing controls me. The way to do it, we spoke about the last few parashot. Take the desire to receive, take the desire to share, combine them together, create a circuitry. And when you have the circuitry, you are empowered. You are in that frequency in which everything is possible. Right? What is desire to receive for the sake of sharing? In that moment, you desire endlessly, but you share at the same time. And that's the only way you can create the frequency that is affiliated, compatible with the frequency of the Creator. That's it. That's the way you can tap into the frequency of the Creator. And the moment you tap into that frequency, everything is possible and light flows into your life. So, however, this is not something we see every day, every hour around us. So what's the source of the behavior that we see around us usually? The source is that the original nature of the vessel is I want. I want, therefore I take. But I want is not compatible with the light of the Creator. Is not compatible with bliss. Is not compatible with anything good. Not just it's not compatible, it's exactly the opposite. Which means, the more selfish the person is, the more away he is from the light of the Creator. The more disconnected he is from real bliss and happiness and whatever is good. So how come in this world you see people that have access to physical bliss while they don't behave like this? So here, that's our story. To give us this world that we have free will, that we have to overcome darkness in order to create light by ourselves. The story had to go down. Adam and Eve and the snake. Who is the snake? The snake is that consciousness of the vessel that says, why shouldn't I take for myself? That's who I am. I am here to receive. That's why he told Eve, you should eat from the tree of knowledge. Because what is the tree of knowledge? Good and evil. I want for myself, I enjoy, but then what happens? What's wrong about, let's say, being drunk? Alcohol. I want to get high, therefore I drink. Therefore, I get high. And then what happens? Bye. Why? You connect to end the slide because you wanted it. And then, what happens? Comes the tzimtzum, which is engraved in every human soul, and says, you cannot take just because you want. That's the same thing with any addiction. To food, to drugs, to sex, to appreciation, to people's acknowledgement. We have a lot of addictions. All of this is about me taking. The moment it's all about me taking, it's very fulfilling, but only for a short time. Why? Because the moment you get it, it's like getting a short circuit in a light bulb. What is a short circuit in a light bulb? You get a lot of light, right? Only for a short time. Then it's over, because it's against the rules of this universe. So now, if Isaac is the left column, the desire to receive, the Parashat tells us the desire to receive has two children, two outcomes. One is a desire to receive for the self alone, the snake. The snake incarnated in this world as the human body. Or in the story, Esau. He's hunter. He's selfish. He cares only for himself. His color is red. Red is the color of the left column. Right? How do you paint? What color is the paint of the lowest desires? Red. Red. If it is physical, let's say a baby, a child, what color does he like the most? Usually red. Why? What's the consciousness of a child? Me. Only me. They like red first. Okay? When you go to a place in which a person has, the message is, here is the place that all your desire, your bodily desire, which means food, sex, whatever, everything is free. Usually, they put a lot of red around it. Nightclubs. What's the name of that? What the street that in Amsterdam? Red light districts. But also, red is the color of danger. It's the color of danger when you want to show that it's danger. The red light, which means, hey, you have to stop. Why? Here's go, no go. If you go by the red lights, if you go with the red, you go whatever you do, whatever you want. You know, there's a lot of satisfaction in that. Like the saying that the light of the light bulb, before it short circuits itself, there's a lot of light. It's a big flash, and then crash. Okay, that's how lives work. So, again, the body stems, the Zohar says, the frequency of the body stems from the power of the snake, which is the original vessel, which means I want, therefore I take. The legend says, there's an ancient legend in the Talmud that says that in the beginning, the Creator created the universe. It was only judgment. So the universe could not hold. So the Creator had to change the universe and recreate it with mercy. What does it mean? If you imagine after the tzimtzum, there's only the desire. I want, but I can't receive. Why? Because every time I want, I'm separating myself from the light of the Creator, from bliss. I can get maybe a little bit, and then I short-circuit myself. A new creation had to be created. And the Kabbalists say this creation is called the second tzimtzum. The second tzimtzum is when the vessel of humanity had to merge with the light of the Creator. But this merging means that what we said before, central column. In order to merge with someone else, it means that you have to give up some of what you wanted, which means the moment you get married, you have to give up some of bachelor's life, which means bachelor's, you wake up in the morning and you feel like going to the beach, you go to the beach. You don't have to ask anyone. You're married, you have to discuss with your spouse, like, what do we do today? Okay? So there's this spontaneous, this being spontaneous thing is taken away. And that's a very good thing, because being spontaneous, you usually pay for it. Because it's very childish. The whole thing, like you're running a company. You do whatever you want. You're running a country, a nation. I decide, I do, it's my ideas, whatever. You know what happens? Everybody leaves you. Nobody wants to be part with you anymore, because, not that you don't have good ideas and great ideas, but everybody wants to feel that they are part. You cannot be a ruler unless you're a dictator. Then you're a dictator, you're not ruling by the people's will, and then sooner or later somebody else is going to take over, or people are not going to cooperate. It's very childish to say, to think, but I want to do it my way. Because the companies, societies that really win are the ones that they have this brainstorming. Everybody comes in with their ideas, willing to bring in their ideas, but at the same time willing to listen. And by listening, you get this, what we spoke about last week in Parashat Chayei Sarah, the merging of two ideas can create something much bigger. That's the basic of what is called Gestalt. When you put few ideas together, you get a bigger idea. You see it also with Nobel Prize winners. Many times it's teams that they have the Nobel Prize. Why? People will get together, put away the ego, and suddenly you get this kind of ideas that support each other, feed each other, and then something bigger, wider, more powerful comes out of it. Correct? And that's the magic of life. That's the magic we spoke about today. The last week. Where this energy coming from is from the original Tzimtzum, the second Tzimtzum, that is merging the consciousness of the vessel with the consciousness of the light. There is not one opinion that is right. It's okay that you're right, I'm also right, and together we see more than each one by himself. I give this example many times. Most people that see normally with their two eyes, if you put your finger, just do it right now. Put your finger in front of your two eyes, close one eye and look at the finger. Now close that eye and open the other one. Okay, exchange. Do you see the same picture with both eyes? Every eye sees another picture, right? Now open both eyes. Concentrate on the finger. I hope that you see one picture. How come the two eyes don't argue who's right? They don't. There's a mechanism in the brain that takes the two pictures, puts them together, and creates a 3D picture, right? To show that the fact that I don't see this reality the way you see, it doesn't mean that one of us is wrong. It means that I see a reality from one angle, you see it from another angle. When we merge two angles together, I can see more. And reality is every person's angle together. That's why the Zohar says on Mount Sinai there were 600,000 people. All of them had the experience of the revelation. Each one of them had a different experience. And everybody's right. How could it be? 600,000 opinions for one thing? Yes. So what is the truth? Everybody's opinions together. Merging all of this together, when you listen to somebody else's opinion, you gain. You gain. This is the secret. This is the secret of the second Tzimtzum that allowed the merging of the desire to receive and the desire to share. So after the second Tzimtzum, the left column has two versions. One version is I want for myself alone. This version incarnated in to the snake. The other version is I receive for the sake of sharing, because that's the only truth. This version had incarnated into the human soul. And a human being is a mix of two, the body and the soul. Both consciousness and that was basically Adam. So now the Zohar says, the snake was incarnated into Esau. Jacob was an incarnation of Adam. And Rivka was an incarnation of Eve. Remember what Eve did? She ate from the fruit, she listened to the snake, and she fed Adam with the fruit. And all of them basically represent the incarnation of these forces in each one of us in our everyday life. Okay? So, if Isaac is also an incarnation of Adam, okay? Isaac is an incarnation of one aspect of our existence, which is, on one hand, he is the chariot. He is the patriarch. He knows that Jacob is the righteous son. He is the one who's going to get the blessing of Abraham. He knows that Esau is what he is. However, there's a saying in Kabbalist teaching that says, Kadma haklipa lapri. The shell comes always before the fruit. When the fruit grows on a tree, what grows first? The shell, right? The shell, the peel. In Hebrew it's klipa. Klipa means what covers the inside, what contains the inside. That's a klipa. Klipa means also in Hebrew, in Kabbalistic Hebrew, means also dark energies. Because every klipa is a dark energy that contains inside light. Because if there's no light inside, the darkness has no life, has no existence. Right? So, why is it that Isaac, it says he loves Esau? Because Isaac is the left column, remember? He's the left column. He's the one who has to be bound. He loves, which means in Hebrew, love means has affinity to. He loves Isaac because Isaac is also the left column. But not just the left column. He's the left column desire to receive for the self alone. And the left column has the desire to receive, even the desire to receive for the sake of sharing, has a tendency to get closer to the left column. Because when you just only want to share, you have no attachment to desires, any desires. That's why people are looking for that safe space in which I'm only sharing. I don't need anyone. However, in this world, we have to. How do you know that you cannot just share? Because you cannot just breathe out, you have to breathe in. How long can you breathe out? There's a limit. How long can you just share money, time, energy, whatever? Finally, you have to stop it. You have to take in order to give. That's why we created this way. So we can deal with what is called the left column. But the left column has two aspects. As I said, there is the left column that is Isaac, and there is the left column which is Esau. And there's also the central column. Now the central column, which is Jacob, is the desire to receive for the sake of sharing. That's the central column. That's why Abraham is the right column, Isaac is the left column, and Jacob is the central column. So who would Isaac love? Esau. Esau is a direct evolution of Isaac. I want. Jacob is an indirect evolution because Jacob is already the merging forces of Isaac and Abraham into one third force. That's why it says that Isaac loves Esau. However, Isaac knows, as we said, that Jacob is the one because he doesn't give Esau the blessing of Abraham and the blessing of the Holy Land. He gives it only to Jacob. Okay, so why he gives the birthright? Why Esau is born first? As we said before, when a child is born, who comes first, the body or the soul? The body. Because a baby, he knows only to eat. He's very selfish. He grows up, and as the body grows, it's like a fruit on the tree. What grows first? The peel, the shell, right? It's bitter, it's hard, It has terrible taste. Why? If the peel had a great taste, everybody will eat it up and the fruit will never grow, right? So the fact that the peel is so terrible, it protects the fruit and gives it the time to grow. What an amazing thing. Finally, you pick the fruit when it's ripe, you take away the peel or the shell and you use the inside, right? Okay. In our case, the body is the peel. Because the body is the cover for the soul. When a person looks at his achievements, what really gives the satisfaction is the satisfactions of the soul, not the satisfactions of the body. The satisfaction from the body is limited by time. Let's say somebody goes to the Olympics and he jumps the highest than any other human being at that time on earth. He runs the fastest. Does that mean that he has got great relationships? No. So what does that mean? Well, after he got the gold medal and he goes home and he has a fight with his wife. So what if he had a gold medal? He's in hell, right? And he fights with every friend around him and so on and so forth. So the physical achievement is nothing when it comes to, when you go to sleep by the end of the day, how many days you can go to sleep happy if you won the gold medal? Every day, the end of the day, what determines if you really win is how did you behave with this ABC, with these people, with your with money, with health, with relationships, with business, with ABC, with basically it's all your desires. So going back to our story. On one hand, Isaac knows that the birthright belongs to Esau, the body consciousness. If you don't have Imen Kemach and Torah, no flour, no study, no Torah, right? There's no food, nobody can study. Okay? Which means, first of all, you have to pay your bills, have some food on the plate, then you can study. Then you can be spiritual. You don't have these basic bare necessities, then you cannot be spiritual. That's very clear, very simple, right? Although some people say, no, I don't need only a bowl of rice every day. Very few people can do that, and I'm really doubting their ability to be spiritual. Why? Being spiritual is the ability to deal with the problems and not to run away from them. Because basically, the fact that we have a body, and the body needs to be trained like a child. You cannot take what you want, right? Isn't that how much time is being invested in training the child not to touch what he does, everything he sees, right? Because that's a body consciousness. I see, I take, I want, I grab it, I grab it. So Jacob, which is the soul consciousness. And we see here the fight that we have between the body and the soul. When is it we get this the soul? Bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. Only that day that we really get. We have a small thing, it's called nefesh, which is a lower level. That means I desire to live. That's nefesh. The second level, which is called ruach or spirit, we get only on our 13th birthday for a boy and 12th birthday for a girl. Only then the journey begins. Now, Rabbi Chaim Vital, the student of Dari, says, that's why it's such a big problem to be a teenager. Why? You put together the soul and the body, and like Jacob and Esau, they fight. In the beginning, they're not used to each other. So it's a lot of fight. That's why the first years are terrible. Are terrible. That till you get used to living together in the same body of two consciousness that who came first? Esau was there first. It's like suddenly, why do I have to be spiritual? Why do I have to be loving? I'm used to when I want something, I take. When I have an opinion, I make it. And what does it mean that I have to learn to be sensitive? That life is not about black and white. right and wrong. That it could be that two people are right, and together they can feed each other and grow with each other without giving up who they are. When you're a teenager, everything's just black and white. Like everybody's a cheater and a liar. You're smarter than anyone else because you're sure that the game that people try to play, the game of playing in the gray, of compromises and so on, you're sure that's stupid. And you're so smart that, no, I'm going with my truth, which is, I'm going to take whatever I want. I'm going to have a great life. I'm going to enjoy, and the heck with anyone else. Who cares what they think? And you don't respect anyone because you don't understand that life is a very wise game of balancing. Same thing. You go to a concert. In the concert, if there's one star that plays over everybody else, it's going to be a cacophony, right? In a real concert, everybody plays with the same thought to create one music, that all the sounds of all the instruments will come into one harmony, right? Which means you have to always bring, when we play the symphony, everybody, all the instruments, all the play, everybody there has to be feeling the others. You can't just play whatever you want, the way you want. That's why you need to rehearse and exercise a lot, right? Same life is a symphony, and you're a player or the conductor, whatever. But it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork. That's Jacob. That's the body, consciousness. Now, Isaac gives a blessing to Esau. Why? It was meant to be like this. It was meant to be like this. He gives the blessing to Esau because in this world the birthright is to the body. The body is born first. You don't have where to live. You don't have what to eat. There's no spirituality. The birthright belongs to the body in this physical world. Now, we as Jacob have to learn how to steal the birthright. Because looking with the eyes, listening with the ears, using the brain, spirituality has no place. How much people give to spirituality? When I have some time. Right? But in the real world, can the body live without the soul? Can the body live without the soul? Can a business live without the soul? Can a household be run without the soul? Without the soul, it can't go on for long. It's only for a short time, before it falls apart, before it's being destroyed. And therefore, our world is that game. When Rivka is saying to Jacob, you have to go and steal your blessing. You have to steal because it's for all of humanity. So people will realize, and people do realize, sooner or later, some, I won't say everyone, maybe sometimes in their lives, that without the soul, the body is useless, powerless, lifeless. And you have to cheat the soul. You have to cheat the body many times. The same way you cheat a little child. When he wants to eat the chocolate, and he needs to eat his meal, so you say, you tell him a story. You distract him. You tell him, you know what, if you eat the meal, you're going to get chocolate. If you don't eat the meal, the chocolate is not yours. Right? Same thing is with the body. Life is a special symphony that you have to play, and you have to be smart playing it. You cannot starve your body because you will die, and then you don't have a place for the soul to live in. So you have to train. You have to train your body all the time, which means a logic is basically body derived. Because whenever we see something, what is that we think about most of the day? Is what am I going to get? How can I achieve? And how can I receive? So you have pictures playing that you broadcast in your brain, right? You have a picture, you're hungry, immediately you picture in your mind the meal. What is it I want to eat right now? And the moment you have this picture in your mind, you create a presentation, right? You have a presentation, whatever, the salad, steak, whatever you like, whatever you feel that, and you ask your heart, which is the body. Like, what do you want right now? You show a whole menu. Do you want this? Nah. Do you want this? Nah. Maybe yes, maybe no. This. That's how we do it. We show the menu, and the heart says, no, yes, that's what I want. Right? It's like you're making a picture. Now, but many times your heart wants something, and you know deep inside it's not good for you. Too many calories. It's not nutritious enough. It's not good for you because of A, B, C, 4, and so on and so forth. Okay? So what do? You picture yourself with a lean meal, and then you put next to that picture how you're going to look like when you eat lean meals, right? What are you doing? Tell the body, you see how you're going to look like when you eat that meal? It's just the same story you tell the child. You eat your meal, you weigh the vitamins and stuff like this, you're going to get, and you picture the chocolate or the chocolate cake or the ice cream. It's going to be with this and with this and with this and with this. And when he has the picture that, he's so excited about it, he's willing to eat the meal. He doesn't want so much, so he can get what he wants. But that's what we do. So it's all about the picture we picture in our brain. So we need to get our body to get from A to B. And the body doesn't want so many times. You want to get up early in the morning to run on the beach. Right? And the body says are you crazy? Right now I want to stay in bed. So you have to tell the body, you see, this is the picture, that's how you're going to look like, that's how you're going to feel. And so until you get the body enough juice and seduction, so okay, I'll get out of bed. Otherwise you won't get out of bed. That's the fight that you have to cheat all the time. And more than that, why should I have, I can sit at home and watch a movie without any effort, or I can go out and sit with people and study, as the Zohar says, in the beginning of this weekly Zohar. אלה תולדות יצחק, פתח רבי חייא ואמר, רבי חייא opened and said, מי ימלא גבורות השם ישמיע כל תהילתו? Who is going to word the judgments of God? The judgments, now we know why the judgments. There are two kinds of judgments. Judgment is left column. There is Isaac kind of judgment, which is the original judgment. There is Esau kind of judgment, which means I want to receive from the self alone. And there is Jacob kind of judgment, which means I want, however, I desire to receive for the sake of sharing. בואו וקם נסיק שביקש הקדוש ברוך הוא ועלה ברצון לפניו לברוא את העולם. When the Creator came the desire in front of him to create the world, which desire came in front of him? The desire that is the creation, right? What is the creation basically? Desire. There's nothing else that is a creation but the desire. היה מסתכל בתורה וברא אותו. He looked at the Torah and created the world. Why? So the Torah existed before the world existed? Yes. Why? There is a saying, an ancient Hebrew saying that says, "Kadma tufa lamaka." For every disease, there's already a medication. There's already a remedy. There's no disease without a remedy. God created the remedies before He created. So every time you get hurt, you have a problem, look around, you find a remedy. The antidote for poison ivy is a plant that always grows next to poison ivy. That's how God created it. So yes, there is a disease, there's also the remedy. And what is the disease? The sage says also, Barati Yetzirah, I created the evil inclination, the body consciousness, Isov, Barati Torah Tavlin, and I created the Torah as the remedy. The Torah is not a book of history. It's not traditions. It's not a religion. It is a remedy. כשרצה לברוא את האדם, when he wanted to create Adam, אמרה התורה לפניו, אם יהיה נברא האדם, the Torah said to God, if the person is going to be created, ואחר כך יחטא, and he will sin, אתה תדון אותו. למה איוב מסך, and then you're going to judge him? Why are you going to do it for nothing? הרי לא יוכל לסבול את ידיך. That's the first creation, remember? The first vessel was only I desire. The Torah says you cannot have it a vessel like this because it's going to be only punishments. Every time I want, high and by. Fulfillment and destruction. Where is this going to? Nowhere. אמר לה הקדוש ברוך הוא, בראתי תשובה מטרם שבראתי את העולם. So God said, I created repentance, teshuvah. But what is teshuvah? Teshuvah is the ability of a person to come back. Teshuvah comes from the word lashuv. When a person comes back to the light, comes back to the original state, which is desire to receive for the sake of sharing. Well, that's the second state. The state of the new vessel, that is emergence of the light and the vessel. אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא לעולם בשעה שבראתו. So God said to the world when He created it. And He created Adam. אמר לו עולם עולם. He said to him, world, world. אתה וטבעך אינם עומדים אלא התורה. Remember that your nature stands only on the Torah. Which means, what is the Torah? The Torah is the program of how to create desire to receive for the sake of sharing. Nothing else. It's not a religion. It's not a tradition. It's not a story. It is the program, as we said about the binding of Isaac. It's not a story. It is the program how to create that merging between desire to receive and desiring to share. To create that synchronicity. ומשום זה בראתי בן אדם כדי שעסוק בתורה. That's why I created humans to deal with the Torah. It doesn't say to study. To deal. The word is la'asok. What's the shorish of the word la'asok? Esek. Esek means business. When a person's business is the Torah, which means he goes to make money, but he thinks all the time, everything I do have to be under the rules of desire to receive for the sake of sharing. I have relationships with somebody I want to marry, somebody I want to do business with, somebody I just want to hang out with. It has to be based on these rules, because this is my business, this is my career. It's all based on these rules. No, I'm not using the rules, it's going to be very painful. Why? You use only left column, only the body consciousness, only desire to receive for the self alone, only the ego consciousness of me alone, who cares about the rest. It's going to be high and by. It's going to be an amazing night, and then there's going to be morning after. Okay? ואם לא יעסוק בתורה, and what then God says, if he's not going to be making the Torah his business, הרי אני מחזירך לטוב ובוהו. Chaos is coming back. והכל הוא בשביל האדם, and everything is for human, for Adam. וזהו שכתוב, אנוכי עשיתי ארץ והאדם עליה בראתי. I made the earth, and I created Adam, human, over it. התורה עומדת ומכרזת לפני אדם. So what is the Torah doing? Announcing in front of the children of Adam, שיעסקו וישתדלו, that they will be busy with, and they will put effort in the Torah, but most people don't listen. And the result? Chaos, as we said before. So כל מי שעוסק בתורה, we'll finish by this. Whoever is busy with the Torah, which means the Torah, his business becomes Torah. He sees in everything he does, this is an opportunity. This is an exercise. How to generate a better me, a transform me, that is more aligned with the light of the Creator. If the person is like this,
He establishes the world. הוא מקיים העולם, הוא מקיים כל פעולה ופעולה שבעולם ותיקונו כראוי. Because by this, he goes out and fixes כתיקונה. If you heard the expression תיקון עולם. Fixing the world. What is the purpose of a human being? To eat? To consume? To be pigs, which means, I'm here just to take. What can I take? Or, you know it. I'm here in a way that when I leave this world, it's going to be better than when it was before. What am I doing for it every day? Tikkun. I'm fixing everywhere I go. I'm fixing the world to become a better place. More balance. Full of more love. Balance among people, people and nature in itself, whatever. That's why when we talk about it, everybody knows, whoa, this is amazing. And then comes everyday life. And how do I do it? That's what the Torah is saying. How to merge the needs of the body and the real world. The real world. Not what people say, oh, the real world is here, the physicality. No, that's elusive world. When you are in the elusive world, what is the result? Pollution, wars, depression, people getting more sick than ever before. They live longer to suffer more, not to enjoy more. ואין לך איבר נמצא באדם שלא תהיה כנגדו בריאה בעולם. And then it comes to what, it's amazing. Every part of the human being is connected to other creatures in the world. What does it mean? כי כמו שגוף האדם מתחלק לאיברים, the same way that the human body is made of many same way that the human body is made of many organs, many parts, tissues, cells, the whole world is made of many creatures, societies, whatever. You cannot look at a human being just as one organ. It's a whole. You cannot look at the world as one country, one species. It's all one symphony. And when we listen to everyone, it's only when we learn that message of to think in a way of a wholesome thinking, that I can always learn from this animal, from this creature, from this human being, from another human being. They don't think like me. They don't feel like me, and I don't have to think like them. But I can listen to them and learn how to create a better, bigger truth just from that whole thing. And therefore, האדם והעולם הוא כדמיון התורה. That's why the human being and the whole world is like the Torah. כי התורה כולה היא איברים ופרקים, because all of these, the programming of all the pieces, the different pieces of the world, are all in the Torah. And when we study, is to let us the ability to be able to communicate with all the different parts of the world. That's why the Zohar says, even every creature that you see in the world, even the one that looks like who needs them, like cockroaches or spiders, whatever, they have a job, they have a role. You cannot eliminate them because the whole world is going to fall apart. But remember, this book was written 2,000 years ago. Now you learn about it in schools. People don't understand still what does it mean, and that's why the result is that they don't behave like this. It's nice in school, it's nice in movies. When it comes to business, we have to make another buck, so another species will go, so what? What can I do? I have to exist. My body has to exist. No, your body cannot live without the soul. That's why when Esau comes from the field and he says, feed me, I'm tired. The Midrash says it was their Bar Mitzvah day. The moment that the fight really starts. And Jacob is smart and he's saying, you want me to feed you because the body cannot without the soul. Give me your birthright. You have to remember that you're here thanks to the soul. And if you don't, there's no justification for the life of the body. So that's the stage that the human being has to go through in order to really have a complete and fulfilled life.